Most of you guys know me as just a health and fitness coach, but some of you guys might not know this about me is that I actually had a previous career doing mixed martial arts. We're talking cage fighting, jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, the whole nine yards. And in this video, I want to share how I actually got started in mixed martial arts, but also how just by doing that, by focusing on something that is challenging and how this is going to relate to you on your own health and fitness journey, whether you do jiu-jitsu, boxing, MMA or not, it doesn't really matter. How you're going to see by just doing hard things and sticking it through is going to lead to so much more confidence for yourself and way more discipline. And let's face it, that's what you need, right? Especially if you're somebody that is looking to lose body fat, get in better shape, have more energy, whatever your goals are. Maybe you want to get off your medications. It all boils down to consistency. I say that all the time. Consistency is key. But in order to be consistent, you need to first master discipline. And how you actually master discipline is by overcoming challenges. It's by overcoming the hard things in life. And that not only just helps you have more discipline, but it also helps you have more confidence. So with that being said, sit back, relax, and let me share, in my opinion, a really cool story. How I actually got started in MMA. I'll talk about my record. I'll talk about, some of my, great fights that I had as far as like best memories. And then once again, this all boils down to you on your health and fitness journey, okay? So I got started at the young age of 17 years old, okay? Starting in MMA. Now, how I actually got started in MMA was actually a really cool story in a nutshell. So me and one of my friends, we actually got in trouble at our high school. I forget what happened, but we were just, maybe roughhousing or doing something stupid. And we had to stay after lunch and actually clean up the cafeteria. Had to wipe down the tables, clean everything up. And as we're doing this, we're talking about a fight that I saw on Spike TV, right? If you guys remember Spike TV, a long time ago. I don't even think Spike TV even exists anymore. But anyways, it was an MMA fight between George St. Pierre and BJ Penn. And I've never seen that before. I've seen boxing matches before, but I've never seen this before. And I was like, wow, this is just the coolest thing ever. Like, these guys are literally trying to kill each other. It was so different. So I'm telling my buddy about it. And lo and behold, the dean of the school, right? The dean of the high school, he's also in the lunchroom and he's overhearing our conversation. And probably about like 10 minutes after, me and my friend were talking about, George St. Pierre versus BJ Penn, the dean walks over and he was like, hey, do you guys like that stuff? And we're like, yeah, He's like, what are you guys doing this Saturday? And we're like, nothing. He's like, why don't you swing by my house? And this is the first time I've ever been to the dean's house, right? So, me not knowing anything, right? I'm like, sure, we'll swing on over. So we do, okay? And he takes us into his basement. I know, it sounds like a really weird story so far, right? He takes us into his basement, and he has literally wrestling mats on the floor, wrestling mats on the wall, heavy bags, like 2 different heavy bag setups, these different like speed bags. It's like legit a gym down there for mixed martial arts. And I'll never forget, right? Because at this time around 17 is when I started to lift weights, backtrack a little bit to when I was in middle school. I got picked on and made fun of for being overweight. Specifically one time where I was at lunch, right? And this girl had a Nestle's Chunky bar, okay? And she whipped it at me in front of everybody. And she's like, here you go, fatty. It has your name on it. And everybody laughed at me. And from that day on, I was like, I got to do something about this, right? So I tried running, tried all these different diets. Nothing really worked for me. So around 16, 15 years old, that's when I actually started lifting weights for the very first time. So fast track, right? So now 17, I'm like, okay, hey, I'm big, I'm strong, I'm lifting weights, okay? Anyways, he brings us down to his basement and he tosses, me and my buddy some boxing gloves, and we had no idea what we were doing. I mean, talk about a workout. Like hitting the heavy bag, and you've never done that before. You're like holding in your breath and trying to hit this thing as hard as you can, and then you get gassed, right? Like immediately afterwards because you don't even know how to properly hit the bag. You don't have any technique, any skill. So we then sparred. Okay, and it was hilarious because me and my friend, we've never once threw a punch or anything like that. And he didn't make us spar with each other. He made us spar with him. And lo and behold, our dean, right, of the school that we were attending, he was like a world-class kickboxer. And man, he kicked our butts that first day. right? Like he literally, like I've never been punched before. And if you're somebody that's never been punched in the face before, you know, like you get punched, it's like you see the stars a little bit, but your eyes get all watery. And it's like you try to like, you know, I didn't even know how to block, honestly, like keep my hands up. It was a joke. So it was hilarious, but at the same time, a very humbling experience. Anyways, I was glued, okay? I was like, man, I got my butt kicked. I woke up the next day literally feeling like I got hit by a truck, aka this guy's hands. And I was glued, right? So I started showing up week after week after week after week. I started to actually work extra hours and actually started doing landscaping at his house just so I can pay for more training sessions. I mean, I was literally obsessed with this. Like it was great. So I remember sitting down with him and telling him like, hey, I really want to do a fight. And in the state of Ohio, that's where I live, you have to be at the age of 18 years old. So he's like, okay, we can do that, but you got to lose some weight, right? So I think at that time, I was around 220, 230 pounds. And he's like, I want you to get down to 170 pounds, which is welterweight. So that's a lot of weight. I had to lose 50, 60 pounds in order to just compete in my first MMA fight. And I was able to do so, right? Through a long, hard process because I didn't know what I was doing. I was literally just throwing spaghetti up on the wall, hoping and praying something stuck. I honestly did not know what I was doing with health and fitness until I got certified in personal training and nutrition. Okay, I didn't know anything. I was just running, eating next to nothing, okay? So I fast forward, right? I lost the weight and I have my first MMA fight and I get my butt kicked. I mean, I remember it was a very nerve-wracking experience for me. Talk about stepping outside of your comfort zone because, you know, I'm versing somebody that's like in their like 30s and at the time I'm 18 years old, okay? And I've only had like less than 1 year of experience doing all this. And this guy that I was versing was actually a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. And I remember him going into like the weigh-in area, just like, where's Calamari? Where's Calamari? Because my last name's Callari, right? And like, I'm like, who's he talking about? And I'm like, oh shoot, he's talking about me. So, you know, he's, you know, trying to start stuff right there. I remember like they had a curtain set up where it's like red side, blue side. And he literally came over to our side while I'm hitting mitts with my coach, getting warmed up before our match. He's like, get ready, Calamari. I'm going to kick your butt. Obviously, he didn't use those words, right? But in my head, I'm like, he's winning the battle already mentally, right? So we walk out to the cage, and sure enough, like, it was the greatest experience of my life. Even though I got my butt kicked in front of my family, in front of my friends, right? My teachers that came to support the fight. It was such a great experience. And from there, it made me want to do this again. Because yes, I lost that match. I got TKO'd, right? Like so remember, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. I don't know anything really about jiu-jitsu at this point. He got a full mount and just started raining punches on me. And I remember like I'm getting punched in the nose, punched all over. I'm covering up like this. And I'm literally talking to my coach because he's on the other side of the cage. I'm like, what do I do? How do I get him off me? And he's like, you know, buck and try to grab his arm. And I couldn't do anything about it. And then eventually the ref stopped it because that's their job, you know? So the next go around, okay, a few months later, I happen to see that there's another fight card. And I begged my coach. I was like, please, 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 can I please fight again? He's like, absolutely not. Like, you came to school with 2 black eyes and a broken nose. Like, and I'm coaching you. We ain't doing that. So I signed up for the fight behind his back. And I actually told him about it like 2 days before the actual fight. And he decided to come out and corner me and coach me for that fight. And I ended up winning by split decision. And I versed a wrestler. And it was really cool because I actually took him down a few times, landed some good shots. I was really good at Muay Thai, so like kickboxing. So the ground I wasn't really the best at, so to speak, when I first got started. Then things changed, okay? But I remember winning that fight, and it was like the best feeling in the world. Like just having them raise my hand, talk about confidence, you know? And that eventually led to me then having my third fight, my brother, Sammy, he actually started fighting as well because he saw my first fight and my second fight, and he's like, I want that. I want to experience that. So I started training with him, right? Start coaching him. And he started going over to, the dean's house as well. And we started training together. And it was really cool because it built up this brotherhood, this relationship that we had. And it was really, really, it was just one of the best feelings ever, is training with my brother, competing with my brother, having these matches with my brother. And it was great. So we end up fighting on the same card, which is my third fight, okay? I end up winning, he ended up winning, and it was just experience to say the least. That was the first time I ever knocked somebody out also. So it was really cool because the first round I got my butt kicked. The second round, he I go for a takedown and I actually get him down, and he gets me in his guard, and I did like the coolest move that I actually got from BJ Penn, which is like, he had his legs around me in guard. I'm on top of him. I'm throwing some punches. I put my hand on his knee like I'm getting ready to pass his guard, and he takes his hand and tries to grab my hand, and immediately right over top, right? Get him with a nice hard shot right on the button, out like a light. I jump on the cage. The ref is yelling at me to get down. I'm feeling like I'm king of the world at this point, you know? Then that led to me and my brother then advancing, because my coach knew that we were very serious about this. And he's like, man, you guys are only coming here once a week, right? And we're doing these fights. You guys need more experience. You guys should probably go to like an official gym. And that's when we did, right? We went there and we cross-trained throughout all these different gyms in Northeast Ohio. And it was great. I mean, we got to fight like this organization called the NAAFS. We got to fight right in the Flats in downtown Cleveland. It's called Fight Night in the Flats. Big time people like Jessica I, who was former UFC fighter. She fought underneath them. Stipe Miocic, who is also a former UFC fighter, heavyweight champion, right? Let me just let that be known. That's where he got started at. So me and my brother got to have these fights also, you know, and it's like thousands of people are coming there to watch us, okay? Now, my favorite fight that I've had, okay, and then I'm going to talk all about like confidence and how this relates to you on your own health and fitness journey, okay? My favorite fight that I ever had was my very last fight. And that's because some stuff happened, we'll just say drama, right, happened before the match, before the fight, like a week before the fight. This was my last ever amateur MMA fight, okay? At this time, this was probably my 15th MMA fight. And, you know, I already had several different kickboxing matches, several different jiu-jitsu tournaments, several different boxing matches. So a lot of experience underneath my belt. And at this time, once again, there's some drama that happened, okay? And my brother was involved, and one of the coaches was involved, where me and my brother was just kind of us. Like, that was it. Like, we didn't really have anybody coming out supporting me and coaching me on this last fight, you know? So my brother was really coaching me and cornering me for this last match. And I could not find any film footage on my opponent. And I always like to do research, right? Like, how much information can I find about, you know, my opponent? Are they a stand-up guy? Are they a ground guy? Now, once again, I started off doing a lot of Muay Thai because my coach at the time, right, the dean of the high school, he was a Muay Thai champion. So he really taught me how to chop the leg for the leg kicks, go to the body, right? Like, that was fun. But as I progressed on my own MMA journey, I really fell in love with jiu-jitsu. Like, I just like it. I still, you know, do a little bit of rolling here today. It's just fun, okay? So this last fight, I could not find any footage on my opponent. And we ended up showing up for the fight. I cut all the weights, weigh in at 169, and I meet my opponent. And very nice kid, you know, but once again, I'm like, okay, like, I'm bigger than him. I got this. It's easy. Well, leading up to the fight, when we're the main event, and we're walking out to the ring, I see him walk out first. And he's wearing a gi, right? You know, like the Karate Kid suits, with a black belt. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, I wonder if he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Or I wonder if he's a black belt in karate. Like, I don't know, right? So, like, your head starts playing tricks with you, okay? And once again, we're going to talk all about this and how this relates to you on your own health and fitness journey. So just remember that. Your head starts to play little tricks with you, okay? Good wolf, bad wolf. So I remember sitting in the back, right, like as I'm watching him walk out, and then my confidence starts to drip down a little bit, because now it's the what if. Well, he must be really good. He's undefeated, obviously. I can't find any footage on him, and now he's a black belt. Like, what if I actually lose my last amateur MMA fight in front of all my friends and family? So I walk up to the cage, right, we get inside, I do my thing, they call me, right, and, you know, sure enough, they call my opponent, fighters, you ready? Touch gloves, make it official, boom. We walk out to the cage, or excuse me, we walk to the center of the ring, right, the MMA cage, and he hits me with the nastiest kick. I mean, literally, when he hit me, the whole crowd went, oh! I thought he broke my forearm. That's how hard he kicked me, and you heard it. It was so loud, so devastating. So I'm standing there like an idiot because in my head I'm thinking like, okay, he's definitely a black belt in like karate or something like this. Obviously, it's not jiu-jitsu. And then he kicks me again, and I'm like, oh, I really got to do something about this or I'm going to like break my arm. So then what he does is he puts his hand on the ground, and I got the photo, it's on I post it on my Instagram all the time. He puts his hand on the ground and swings his leg up. Like if you ever watch Never Back Down, it's one of my favorite movies ever. It's called Capoeira. And so it's like he put his hand on the ground, swing his legs up, and hit me again. So now I got chopped in the arm, right? 3 times back to back to back. After the fight, my arm was literally swollen. It was ridiculous. But I'm like, okay, obviously if I stand here, I'm going to get knocked out. I can't do this. I need to get him down to the ground. Obviously, he's probably not that good on the ground if he's that good at stand-up, right, with kickboxing. So I bull rush him. I get him up to the cage, bully double, which is one of my signature takedowns. And then all of a sudden, he slaps the nastiest armbar on me. And I mean, this thing was so tight. I'm hearing it literally crackle and pop as it's hyperextending, okay? And right there, every little doubt in my mind say, just tap out, just tap out, just tap out. Like it's either break my arm or I'm going to tap out. Like it's done. This is literally 40 seconds in the first round, okay? There's no way that I'm going to win this match. But then I remembered, okay, there's been several fights that I've been in where I got stuck in an armbar. There's been several different jiu-jitsu tournaments where I got stuck in an armbar. There's been several also different training sessions that I had with my training camps that I got stuck in an armbar, right? Let's not freak out mentally. Let's not feel into our emotions. Let's be strategic about this, right? And let's just focus, right? Let's regain our confidence and say, hey, we've been in this position plenty of times. Let's not freak out. And so I try to lift him up, like almost like a miniature Rampage Jackson, like Pride back in the day, slam. Obviously not that big or effective, but enough to lift him up, get him off. I slide my elbow in, right? So I'm out of, the position of him getting me in an armbar. And he goes over to his knees, okay? Like he's getting ready to get up. And I'm like, we are not having that at all. So I knee pick him from my knees. He falls over. I get in side control position, start, throwing some punches on him. And then he made a mistake that I capitalized on. I kind of bait everybody in this, and this is why I like jiu-jitsu a lot. It's like you don't ever plan for your A submission. You plan for your B or C submission. So as I'm in side control landing these punches, I'm leaving some space and opening because I want him to realistically put his arm over my side here to try to roll me over, which once again, I wanted him to do that. So he fell for the baits. He did that. As soon as he did, I locked in my guillotine choke, finished it, right? 55 seconds in the first round. I'll never forget my mom, right? Like when she saw me get kicked and all that stuff and fell in that armbar, she actually turned around, right? Closed her eyes like this. And then like 10 seconds later, like my friend at the time, Jonathan, he's tapping her on the shoulder. Like, hey, your son just won. The fight's over with. She's like, what happened? That's how quickly that fight ended. It all happened in 55 seconds in the first round. Okay. I get him the guillotine choke. I win. And I'm thinking like, thank you, Lord. That could have been bad. So what does this have to do on your health and fitness journey? Why am I even telling you this? It's because in life, you are going to be going through so much adversity, so much challenges. There's been several different injuries that I had to go through in my MMA career. Several different times where I lost fights. I lost, jiu-jitsu tournaments. I've lost training sessions, right? Where it's like I got my butt kicked, concussions, the whole 9 yards, okay? But hear me out. Every single time you continue to show up, that's when you actually gain the confidence. That's when you actually gain more understanding about yourself on how you can overcome, right, those adversities, how you can overcome those challenges, how you can focus on having more perseverance. And anytime you're able to do that, you're building more discipline. Like I'm running 2-a-days, right, working out, right, the strength training, and doing like obviously the whole MMA training. Like that's a lot, especially for some of the fight camps. I remember there's several different fight camps. We would call what's called, I think it was called like shark bait or thrown into the shark pool, whatever the case may be, where it's like you would get fresh guys every like 90 seconds where they're coming in, they're sparring with you, and like you're sparring with them. And then immediately after 90 seconds, they go out, a new guy comes in, you stay in because you have a fight coming up, and it's the same thing. So by the end of 5, 6 guys, you're exhausted and you're versing somebody fresh, right? And so that has a big toll on you mentally as well. And I mentioned about like mentally that, hey, there's going to be several times where once again, as I mentioned that, hey, that last fight, I saw him walk out to the arena, he's wearing his gi. I had that good wolf mentality, right? And bad wolf mentality where it's like, I got this, but then it's like, he's a black belt. And something that I don't know, do I actually have this? You start to lose a little bit of faith. You start to lose a little bit of confidence. And you on your health and fitness journey, whether you go to the cage fight, whether you box, jiu-jitsu, really doesn't matter. Whether you just go to the gym, it's the same thing, guys. And this is why I'm sharing today's lesson with you. It's because I want you to understand that, like, once again, you on your health and fitness journey, it's not going to be easy. It never is easy for anybody. But the ones that you see are, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they're still moving their bodies. They're still going to the gym. They're still working out. They're still trying to stay physically fit. Guess what they mastered? Discipline, right? And they say here that successful people do what they have to do, whether they feel like it or not. If you just go off of emotions, right? And, I need to feel motivated to work out, you're not going to be successful on your health and fitness journey because motivation is going to come and it's going to go. Discipline equals consistency, okay? And how do you gain more discipline? It's once again by overcoming those challenges, by showing up, by stepping outside of your comfort zone. And that doesn't happen with, once again, doing what's easy. And that's why I love working out in the gym because you can push yourself. You can go for those PRs. You can fail at those PRs. But guess what? Even if you fail, you're still learning because failure stands for first act in learning. And it's like, yeah, I missed that bench or I missed that squat or I missed that deadlift. I didn't hit those numbers, but at least I tried. And that's why to me, health and fitness and your journey matters so much because you gain so much about yourself in that process of personal development. You gain a stronger, sharper mindset. You gain obviously the physical attributes, right? To lift weights, to have more energy, to move your body in a way, right? And at the same time, as you're focusing on yourself, you're filling up your cup, which is inspiring and encouraging to others. So that way you can now be more of an asset to pour more out because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So I hope today's message just gave you some inspiration, just gave you some encouragement because right now you might be struggling on your health and fitness journey. You feel like you're putting in all the work, you're not seeing the results. Well, it's okay. Continue, right, to show up. Continue to put one foot in front of the other. Like eventually you will see the results. I didn't win every fight, right? There's been plenty of times where I would lose, but I didn't give up. I continued to show back up, continue to work on my craft, continue to get better, and then sure enough, I would win that next fight. And you on your health and fitness journey is very similar. You just got to focus on, okay, what can we do today to strive to be 1% better and just show up? And I promise that if you make that your mindset, you make that your mantra, your mentality, you will have success. But you got to make sure that you're playing this for the long run, not the short run. This isn't no quick fix. This isn't no, hey, I'm just want to lose 15 pounds and be over and done with it. No, you need to treat your health and fitness journey like a marathon, not a sprint. And you need to devote to that each and every day to just striving to be better and showing up. And once you master discipline, you master consistency, guess what? You're never going to need to feel motivated ever, like literally ever again. There's no such thing as motivation because you have discipline. And you most importantly have put yourself through adversity by stepping outside of your comfort zone, by showing up, by putting in all the hard work. And when you're able to do that, when life actually throws you challenges, when life actually throws you curveballs, it's a lot easier, right, to face them head on, have the right mindset as, hey, I got this. I have confidence in this because I built up the momentum. I built up the confidence of stepping outside of my own comfort zone on my health and fitness journey. So if this resonated with you or gave you any sense of encouragement or inspiration or gave you some value, great. That's the intentions for today's video. I would love to know your feedback. Leave a comment down below. If you happen to like today's video, just give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet already, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. As always, guys, this has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Peace out, Girl Scouts.